Hi guys, welcome along to another edition of the extension build series. In this edition, you're going to see more exciting work happening in the garden, so keep watching and keep safe. So our next mission is to get this garden completed. We've done some of the excavation work, ready to put in our drains. We are now just getting these coping stones on here. As you saw before, this wall got rebuilt. So what we're doing is reinstating these coping stones. So these have been made by a company in Lutterworth called Lutterworth Coping Stones, and he's actually moulded these himself. They look really, really good. They're basically a replica of the original ones. The mould was made to suit that. They look aged, so they're not going to look out of place here. Alex is just up there now getting these on. So unfortunately it started raining, which means it's going to put a stop to our laying of the coping stones. But as you've seen, Alex has got quite a few done already. So at the minute he's just getting the pointed up done up here. Looking nice as ever out. They're all covered over there, as you can see. So what we will do is just basically keep a check on the weather. If it does stop raining a little bit, then what we can do is lay a few more and then just leave the joints out and then point them back in tomorrow. So I'll hopefully show you some more progress. So it's another beautiful day in Leamington, and we're going to go and see how Alex got on yesterday with his coping stones. He's absolutely smashing it, looking very nice. The rain eased off yesterday, so we managed to get a few more on. All right guys, let's climb up and have a look. These are looking amazing. Yeah, really nice addition to this wall. Obviously the function of a coping stone is to stop any water going through the wall and seeping through, because then what will happen is if there's any bad weather, any frost or anything like that, all it's going to do is just destroy the mortar. So this literally is a top capping stone, so the water will hit these and run straight off. There's a little detail underneath there, I don't know if you can see. There we go, yeah, see this here? So this little ridge here is a drip. So what happens is the water will come down, and when it hits this point, it will drip down. So rather than, as it would naturally happen with water, it will go across here and down the wall, this actually makes the water drip down and straight off. So Alex is going to get the rest of these finished off. So guys, as you can see, we're making good progress in the garden now. All these eco drains are in. We've just got to get everything cut, all the tops cut now. If you want to see how we've done this, check out our video on how to install eco drains. So they're all around there. We're just starting to get the MOT stone down now. All our drainage runs are in as well underground. There'll be another run of ecos across here as well. That's what this pipe here is for. So yeah, we're just going to get our levels now with a laser for this area, because this area is actually going to be a step down from that. That'll be 150 mil higher than this area here. So we need to get all this compacted down now to the right level, because that'll be ready for the concrete base to go on, ready for the tiles. And then once we've got this level sorted, we'll then move over to there and get all this area ready then for obviously the raised section. Again, MOT, whacker plate, MOT, get all our levels right. There's going to be sleepers going all the way around here as well, all the way down the side of the building, which will be a nice little detail. There's also sleepers coming down here and across here as well. There'll be a barbecue here. Obviously lots of nice lighting around as well, just to make it look really effective and amazing as we always want it to look. So we have got all our MOT in. So this is pretty much where we need to be with our levels at the minute. We've got some more MOT to go in down there, but as you can see, we've got a scaffold up at the minute. We're doing some renovation to the chimney stacks, so that's up there. So obviously we can't do anything down there for now. We've come slightly down from these eco drains. The reason being, we're going to have 70mm of concrete on here, and then obviously the tile as well. So we don't want to go too far with this. Next step now is to get this renovacos in across here. So obviously what we've done is got all the stone in ready, and then we're going to have to just trench this out now to put our new drains in there. We've worked this level out here because what we're having is, same as inside, we're having these step tiles here, which are really nice little detail to have, rather than just tiling straight up to the edge and then putting the riser on it. We've actually got a nice little nosing detail on these, so they look really good. So our aim then is to bring the tiles through. Because the tiles are going to be the same as what are inside, we're going to have the same out here. We've got to obviously follow the grout line, so we want to make sure our grout lines are running right. So that tile that you can see there, let me just check I'm pointing the right one. This one here and this one here will obviously run straight out in unison with that, keeping our grout line nice and parallel out here. So then we've got to work out exactly where that tile will finish, which will be over here somewhere, and then the step tile will come to here, and then obviously we want our acos then to sit directly underneath that nose of that tread. So all this area will slope down towards it, so any rainwater that gathers on this area will then go straight down into this drain, and then the pipework runs out there and the water is gone. We'll start digging this out now, and I'll show you the progress through the day. So as you've just seen, we've got the last run of drains in. There they are. They're in 150mm lower than this section, because obviously we've got to step down into this lower area here. We've put them in level as well, same as those. The reason being is when we do the concrete out here, it's going to be a self-leveling, self-compacting concrete. So that means that obviously it flows level. So if we were to put these at an angle, it would then show up on that, and then when the tiler comes to finish the tiles, he's going to have an absolute nightmare. Because of the depth of these, you're going to have no problem with any standing water. It would just run straight out. It's going to be fine. It will not be a problem at all. So that's why we put those in level. We've had to do additional dig out here just to move the pipe work over to here, so it just flows straight out now, which is a lot better, and our sill trap's on the end of the run rather than being over there, which is going to be a much better finish. So yeah, that's about it. Like I say, I'll leave this to go off overnight, and then we can get it all back filled. He's winking, Will. So guys, we are now on to the next stage, which is getting the shuttering ready for the concrete. So what I'll do, I'll show you the plan, which is over here. So this is the plan. It's been cut off slightly, but the building is actually here. That part of the building over there is actually across here, and then our tiles are going to step across the garden like so into the step tiles, which are here, which will actually run across to that point there and go into our lower section there, which will be here. So what we need to do is put our shuttering across this perimeter here, all the way down here, straight down to here. We also need to put some additional shuttering in across here, because this area across here is actually going to be planters, so we don't want concrete to go into that, because any rainwater or anything like that obviously needs somewhere to go, because otherwise eventually it will just build up within the sleeper. So this will naturally drain through to the ground. Shuttering all the way across here. So it's actually really important that we get this bang on, because these tiles are actually going to flow through from the house tile. So because they're exactly the same format, we need to make sure that all our grout lines are all matching in. So if we mess this shuttering up by a couple of mil, it's going to kick everything over, which we do not want. So it's very important that we take our time over this. We're going to be having 70mm of concrete on here. So what we're going to do, just to make sure our shuttering is absolutely solid, we're using these 5x2 timbers, which is actually 120mm. So that gives us a bit of overspill on the top, just to make sure nothing goes over. And then we'll be making stakes out of this 2x2 timber as well. So we're just setting out our lines now. So what we've done is we've measured 2 tiles distance in there, and then 2 tiles the same distance from that point there out to here to this line, and then this line is then squared off, paralleled off from the tiles in there, which that gives us this line. Then we're then going to run another line across this way, which is going to give us our square. And what we'll do is, using the 3, 4, 5 rule, we'll measure out and make sure that these are actually 90 degrees to each other, and then we can set out our first piece of shuttering. So as usual, we'll set up the time lapse and you can watch how we get on. So we've got our first bit of framework together. So now what we need to do is get these squared up. So we're holding our framing square in like this. Slide it into the back there. So basically using our lines, we know that this point here is correct. This is 90 degrees here. One tile is going to fit in here. This will be where the end of the planter comes. So what we're actually going to do, we're going to build this framework up, and then we're going to use some 6mm MDF. We're going to make some makeshift tiles out of this. So we'll cut this to the exact same size of the tiles, and then we'll basically lay them out in format just to make sure that our framework is exactly where we need it to be. So we'll just screw it all up together temporary for now, and then get the piece of MDF cut, and then we can actually stake it all into the ground and make sure it's all nice and solid and exactly where we need it to be. So, we're going to show you through this process now using my esteemed colleague Rick. Hi Rick.
All right.
First process, what we need to do, because we're cutting these as temporary tiles, we need to make sure that they're exactly square, because obviously the tile will be. So what we need to do, use these machined edges. We've already done it to make sure we've got the right length. So now we're going to cut the board down in half effectively to make sure we've got the right width. So important thing to do is make sure we use the machined edge, which is this side and this side, and then we mark on there 90 degrees. So we know that's a perfect 90-degree angle. Same over this side, because we know that's machined and that's machined. 90 degrees, just like that. Okay, so we know now we can take a dating point off this edge and off this edge, and the same over here, and then that will give us a nice square, true measurement. What we're doing is we're cutting for the tile, and we're allowing for the grout line as well. So we're going to 1195, 1195, there we go. Ooh. Right then, so next thing, what we're using is our plunge saw. So we get our rail in place. That's on the line, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use our framing square against the machined edge, like so, and then use that against our rail, and there we know that this is actually square, so we know when we cut this angle here, that's going to be 90 degrees as well. I'm going to check this side just to be double sure, just to make sure how good Rick's cut was, and that is bang on. Beautiful, nice one. Okay, so plunge saw at the ready. So, if our calculations are correct, Rick can get his tape measure out. There you go.
Bang on.
Bang on, beautiful. What about this edge, mate? Bang on, perfect. So now we know we've got 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. So this is a perfect square. And now what we need to do is just mark our grout line on it, just for our reference. Down this side. So we know now when we put our next tile up to it, yeah, we've got a grout line on either edge, so it will work out exactly how it will do when the tiles are in place. So as you can see, we've started to build our internal framework, which will just basically act as a shoring up to make sure that our temporary tiles fit, which ultimately will mean that our proper tiles fit. So grab a square here. So what we've done is we've paralleled our lines through from the tiles inside out to here, which gives us this point to here, and same off the wall, and using where our tile lines will be to give us these cross timbers here, and then getting our square in. Make sure that we're bang on where we need to be. So we've got our perfect 90 degrees here, which will work really well with the tile. So now what we're going to do is get these screwed through, get this framework all built together. Next step then will be to run some more timbers across this way, across here, and then obviously brace them that way. Same up here as well. And that way then we know everything's bang on where we need it to be, and then we can get our pegs in behind to make sure it's all secured, ready for the concrete. So just a bit of an update for you. I've got all our framework finished. It's been a bit of a pain, to be honest, to get it all square and where we need it to be. But now we've done that, everything's bang on up to this point here. We'll get that sorted in a minute. But what we're doing now, we've got these full temporary tiles. We're screwing those all down, so that effectively then locks everything off. So none of this will twist because all the perimeters of these are all screwed down, so it will stop any movement anywhere. Now all the full ones are in, what we need to do is get all these bits cut, make sure they all fit properly and work right to tile as they're supposed to. And yeah, that will be one major step forward then. So, all our temporary tiles are in place. All our 90-degree corners are in, which means everything's nice and square and exactly where it needs to be. All our shuttering has worked out well. We know all our lines are going to work well. This major line here, through this point here, straight through into the kitchen area there. You're going to see that grout line specifically. The other ones that run off sideways, you'll obviously notice through the side window there. But this enables us then to make sure that we're perfectly lined up with that tile and this tile in here. So our grout line, when you're standing out here from this point, will marry right the way through and look really good. So now we need to carry on with the shuttering. So I've started making this in here. We need to return this round because there's going to be planters around here. And then we need to sort out this area along here. And then there's additional shuttering to go in along that bit as well, because that is where there's going to be more planters down there as well. So we don't want any concrete to flood into that, like I've mentioned before. So hopefully you enjoyed this. As usual, if you have enjoyed it, give us all a big thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications, so every time we release a new video you'll be notified. Speaking of new videos, next week we're going to be releasing 4 in 1 week. They're going to be previews of our next job, which is a Regency renovation here in Leamington Spa. It's a really exciting property, loads of great history there, and we'll give you a massive walkthrough all the way through it. The first one will be released on Monday, so make sure you check that out. See you next time, stay safe.